If dating is the game, then marriage is winning the game.
Yeah, if you're playing in the women's league.
We are the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Take the scenic route in the new Hyundai Santa Fe, the family SUV with available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you travel way off the beaten path. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Blackhawks have won the Stanley Cup for the second time in 4 seasons.
Here it is. The waiting is over. The New York Rangers are the Stanley Cup champions, and this one will last a lifetime.
Here's Lemieux. The center penalty coming up. Look at Lemieux. Oh, my heavens. What a goal. What a move. Lemieux. Oh, baby.
Gretzky looking. Gary Curry. McSorley to Gretzky. Scores! He did it! He did it! The greatest goal scorer in National Hockey League history is Wayne Gretzky.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, covering the NHL like no other.
Armchair.
It's time to jump into DraftKings. Go to DraftKings today at DraftKings.com. Golf, NASCAR, soccer, you name it. And of course, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. Go to DraftKings.com. Listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks for DFS advice all year round.
You're riding morning shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays, your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father's Day is the worst holiday in the world. I've done the research. I already know. Let me tell you something. Mother's Day is the second most celebrated holiday in the world. Christmas is first. So that means it's Jesus, then your mama. You know what Father's Day fall at? Number 20. I can't think of 18 other holidays. Do you realize Arbor Day is number 13? I don't even know what that is. I just know it come before me. That's
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. And response to a statement released Friday by outgoing Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott, American Athletic Conference Commissioner Mike Oresco on Saturday that guaranteeing each Power 5 conference champion a spot in a potential 12-team playoff format would be, quote, an enormous step in the wrong direction. Oresco said the Pac-12 was the only conference to raise the issue this week at the two-day college football playoff meeting in Chicago, where all 10 FBS commissioners met formally to review a proposal for a 12-team format. After the meeting on Friday, Scott released a statement saying the Pac-12, quote, supports expansion of the college football playoff and believes the Autonomy 5 champions should annually qualify for the college football playoffs. The proposal, which was written by Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, Mountain West Commissioner Craig Thompson, and Notre Dame AD Jack Swarbrick, does not include guarantees for particular conference champions. Instead, it calls for the bracket to include the highest 6 ranked conference champions plus the 6 highest ranked other teams as determined by a selection committee. Here we go again. Today in Major League Baseball, we've got a doubleheader to get it all going with the Atlanta Braves and New York Mets. Ian Anderson and Jacob deGrom are expected in the first game. First pitch, 5:10 Eastern. At 6:05, it's the Indians and Cubs. Alzolay expected to take the mound for the Cubbies, while Cleveland will counter with Aaron Savale. At 7:05 Eastern, you got Jake Odorizzi and Keegan Aiken matching up in Baltimore as the Astros battle the Orioles. A's and Rangers, ESPN Plus at 8:05 Eastern, Montas and Gibson on the mound. Reds and Twins, it's Tyler Mahle and J.A. Happ, 8:10 Eastern, while at 9:40, you got the Brewers and the Diamondbacks, Brett Anderson versus Merrill Kelly. And at 10 o'clock Eastern on ESPN, the Dodgers and Padres, they're back at it again. This time it's in San Diego. Julio Urias versus Yu Darvish should be a dynamite matchup. In the National Hockey League, it's Game 4 of the NHL semifinals. The New York Islanders travel to the Tampa Bay Lightning. That game can be seen on the USA Network. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. I want to give a belated shout out to all the fathers out there. Hope you had a great weekend. And if it didn't, make today yours.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. I know one father that had a hell of a Father's Day. That was John Rahm's father. What a great performance. What an emotional performance. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. We got that and a whole hell of a lot more this morning on a Monday. I'm already in Friday in my head. Cracking
Long week for you, buddy.
Are you crying? No. Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Why don't you leave her alone, Jimmy?
Oh, you zip it, Doris. Rogers Hornsby was my manager, and he called me a talking pile of pig. And that was when my parents drove all the way down from Michigan to see me play the game. And did I cry? No. No. And you know why? No. Because there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in baseball. No crying.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Justin Waller and Mac McGee. Justin, how the hell are you, sir?
Doing great, Mac. Had a great Father's Day weekend, spent time with the family, and man, what a day for Rahm yesterday. That their household had a tremendous day.
That was an emotional. I'm assuming that you got a chance to. I know you're out camping this weekend, but did you get home in time for that?
I got home to see the last 4 holes of Rahm's round, so I got to see the drama there, the putt on 18. That amazing day, and to have a newborn and be a father, that had to be a great moment for him. And then you alluded to, his father. What an amazing day that had to have been for him as well. Watch his son accomplish that.
Yeah, so I had that going while there was so much stuff going on in the world of sports, and it rained here yesterday. So we only got like maybe an hour of pool time at the most. So I was locked in for most of the day. We actually got up early to have breakfast with my mom, who my wife had not seen since the pandemic. I've only seen my mom a couple of times, but it's just the way it's fallen. They haven't been essentially, except for a really brief hi on Christmas Eve. Like that was it, right? So we went out there. Man, that's a zoo. I told my wife, I was like, man, I'd rather just get up and cook the damn thing. And I don't know what it's like in Murfreesboro right now, Justin, but right now in Jacksonville, especially, I think it's because the pandemic is essentially gone. Everyone's getting vaccinated, et cetera, that the first place that gets packed is Sunday morning breakfast, right? And I'm like, this just is not, I'm at the point now where I'm like, it's not enjoyable to me. The last couple of times that her and I have tried to go out for breakfast, it has been sitting around or standing around or walking around somewhere, waiting about an hour to get sat. And then you're jammed in there like sardines. But anyways, it was a good breakfast, but I was just like this, and not to mention the racket that breakfast joints have.
You're gonna have to send me down the wormhole of the restaurant business as to why do you take your loved one, mother or father, to a restaurant on the busiest day of the year? Take them somewhere else or have a place for reservation. Come on, plan this stuff out. Mom and dad don't want to sit there miserable and wait for 2 hours. I've always wondered that in the business, because it's Mother's Day is the largest. The Father's Day is the largest by far. But you see that on Mother's and Father's Day, the parking lots are just slam packed everywhere I drove by yesterday, and I'm like, man, I know everybody wants to take Dad out.
Yeah, they
throw something on the grill. Dad doesn't want to sit there in the lobby all day waiting to get a table.
Yeah, they weren't overly busy compared to other Sundays. In fact, Father's Day is one of the slower holidays of the year across the board, because most dads are doing exactly what you're saying. Their elbow fight is in Publix trying to get the best steak, right? Because most dads don't want to go out. So I was in the business for a long time, and I can remember a lot of standing around on Father's Day, but the breakfast joint, people are just going to go regardless, right? And I was hoping, okay, we'll beat the church crowd. No, everyone was up there. But anyways, that started our morning. And then by the time I got back, man, I was rolling and ready to go early in the morning by like 10 a.m. I'm like, what the hell do I do with the rest of my day? Well, luckily the U.S. Open came on and caught quite a bit of it. Was glad to see DeChambeau fall apart and, become the disaster that he was Sunday. That was kind of entertaining. And then nothing against the other guys, but I really got to where I was pulling for Rahm. I was like, dude, I want this guy to do it. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I predicted him and all that crap. I predicted him because I was pulling for him. I didn't have some kind of, me, I don't know crap about golf. I enjoy the majors and that's about it. But that was fun. When he did that, yeah, it's like, oh man. Now you see the real emotion when people, had he lost it, I'm sure he would have been like, oh, it was tough, but we'll get him next time. He was like, screw you, COVID. Yes.
Yeah, it was a great day. I wish I would have caught more of the round. I got zoomed in. I had to catch up on the Vanderbilt marathon and the disappointing Tennessee game. So I caught a lot of college baseball. That consumed my Father's Day. I was all into the World Series. Tennessee's got to shake it off. One bad inning. They lost momentum in the first when they had runners first and third. Nobody out, didn't score. And it fell apart in the seventh. And, hey, kudos to that Arizona team. They gave Vanderbilt a ride. That was a great game. I don't know how many people stayed up Saturday night and watched all of it, but
I was
that
up
was a
because I was
phenomenal
watching the
game.
NBA too, and I had them both on. I was like, the wife's like, "Are you coming to bed? It's ridiculous. It's no light." I'm like, "You don't know what you're missing." I was like, "This is ridiculous." Between the NBA that was going on Saturday night with the with KD, carrying the entire load versus the Bucks, and the Bucks pulling off the miracle upset in Brooklyn to send. My biggest thing with that was to watch Kyrie Irving go home. Bye-bye. So I don't have LeBron. I don't have Kyrie. The Philadelphia 76ers are gone. I don't have to deal with that nonsense. Not that I hate the players on there, but just being a Celtic fan, you don't like the Sixers. But this for the first time in a long time, I'm going to just enjoy the NBA playoffs and not have someone that I'm pulling for hard or pulling for someone against. Still pulling for the Suns, but that to me was a lot of fun. And Trae Young, Atlanta Hawks, man, Ice Trae has become unreal. That Vandy Arizona game, though, Justin, I mean, it was exhausting. What was it, 12 innings that it ended up going?
12 innings. Yep.
I mean, I'm surprised you were awake at that point.
I was not. I watched it yesterday. That was my Father's Day. My wife was like, "You dived into."
I thought I misunderstood
you. Didn't see him. I was like, I purposely went camping, and I had this recorded, and I have it planned out. So I dove into it and watched it yesterday. Now I sped it up a little once we got to the end. I knew we went extra innings.
What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like there's 45 minutes left in the recording and we're in the 9th inning. What the hell's going on?
Yeah. I cheated a little, but yes, I sped that along because the Tennessee game was kicking off and I was up against the clock, or kicking off. Shows you how used I am watching Tennessee baseball in the World Series.
It's always football time in Tennessee, rocking and rolling.
That's right.
They've got a big game today. Obviously it's do or die. Not today. Tomorrow, Tennessee will have it. But there is a do or die game, 2:00 College World Series. That game will be on ESPNU. Why? I don't know. Why the hell is that not on? What, you really have to throw the third recording of First Take on there? Like anyone's watching that junk. But anyways, for people who are looking for it later, it's on ESPNU, not ESPN. And then tonight's game, NC State continues to surprise. They're going to be going up against Vanderbilt, 7:00 Eastern. That'll be Leiter's kid. Jack Leiter will be on the mound. I'm dialing into that as that should be a lot of fun. See what he get. Yeah, it's funny thing about that Vanderbilt team, and they got the W anyways. But Tony and I talked about this probably, I don't know, 2 months ago, Justin, on the Gators and Golf show. And I kept saying, well, it's because normally your best pitcher pitches the first game, but I think they have this set up where they wanted Leiter in game number 2 because he is the best pitcher. If you watch these two, Rocker's raw and he's got a lot of talent, but as far as like an accomplished college baseball pitcher today, it's Leiter. But what he gives you is now that you got through that game, you can put the hammer down, because if you can win that second game, you're on easy street waiting on the other teams to knock each other out, and you'll have some rest. And I believe Rocker can come back around. If not, he can definitely be there for the first elimination game along with Leiter. If you would have lost, he can prevent you from going 2 and barbecue. So that's years and years ago, you always put your best pitcher first. But I'm seeing more and more now where the coaches are like, no, I want my actual guy, my guy I can lean on to go second, because when I'm up against it, I don't want a guy out there who might be talented, but also might walk 6 guys in the first 5 innings.
That's ballsy, but
it could
kind of like it.
And I'm not as familiar with NC State. The only time I've watched them play was when Florida State went up there earlier in the year, and then NC State. I watched them a little bit in the College World Series since playoffs since this began, and I watched one game in the ACC tournament. So I'm not as familiar with them, but I think it's all going to come down tonight to if Leiter is Leiter, NC State's going to have their hands full. But if he can't be a guy that's going to go out there and go 6 or 7 innings, remember, I think this guy's going 2 or 3 no-hitters this year already. If he can't be Leiter, then NC State's that cracks the door open for this number 16 team in the country. Stanford, Arizona, that should be interesting, though, at 2:00 today.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get the offensive production out of the Wolfpack that you saw against Stanford. That just exploded, came out of nowhere. I hope they didn't use it up.
Unless they're banging trash cans. I don't think they're going to get
If you see
that was a disappointing loss for Arizona. They had and that's why I said that comment about that gamble with rolling with your stud number 2. That game 1 win, I feel so important in the World Series. It just sets you up for everything. Man, that is one heck of a strategy. Now, hey, it worked out for Corbin. Hopefully, you'll see today. I think they'll probably cruise through NC State. I don't think they're going to have as high a contact rate as they had against Stanford. And if they do, Katie, bar the door, because I don't know what's going to happen next.
This isn't one of the better Stanford teams. I fully expect Arizona's offense to rise to the occasion and beat Stanford. But Stanford does have that lineage. I mean, they have been a baseball, I wouldn't say superpower, but they've been a solid base. They're like an Auburn football. Like you're like in certain years, they're badass, and other years they're, if nothing else, they're not chopped liver. Well, this is a year I think where they're a little in between, and it's a big Pac-12 showdown too. That's the other side of it for people that didn't keep up with it. So we talked about Tennessee. They lost game 1. They're going to go up against the Longhorns in game I don't know what number, the game 7 of the College World Series, but that's just the way they number them. It'll be tomorrow at 2:00 on ESPNU once again. So if you're looking for the game tomorrow, it looks like most of these mid-afternoon games are going to be at ESPNU. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to get some views on ESPNU, because ESPNU has almost been forgotten about non-football season. So maybe that's got something to do with it. Mississippi State, Virginia, by the way, that'll be the game tomorrow night. Is Mississippi State upset number 3 Texas. So you got two teams, the Cowbells and the Wahoos tomorrow night that aren't realistically supposed to be there. Of course, Virginia beat Vanderbilt in the College World Series a few years back, but this is not that. This team is nowhere close to, like, Vanderbilt's a really good team again this year. Virginia, everyone's like, how the hell did they get there? It's been
Virginia is a few years removed, winning it before Vanderbilt did in 19. I can't put a year on it off the top of my head, but 16 or 17, they just come off a championship.
Right. They beat Vanderbilt in.
Was that for the championship? I didn't realize that. I knew they had knocked them out. I didn't know that was for the series.
Yeah, they beat it, and they've played. Virginia and Vanderbilt have actually played quite a few times over the last. Whenever the hell we started this show in 14, I feel like that Virginia and Vanderbilt have had some epic clashes in the College World Series. If it wasn't back-to-back years, then it was like, within a 3-year standpoint that Virginia and Vanderbilt were the last two standing. So they're good. That's going to be a lot of fun.
The UT Bowl is going to be great. I mean, we're going to find out which one's the best color orange.
I was just about to say we're going to find out who the real UT is tomorrow.
That's right. Dear God, it'll probably be Texas. Tennessee has a horrible.
Well, the funny thing about Texas is they are always a powerhouse in baseball, but they don't win championships. It's very rare that the Texas even makes it to the College World Series. And you would think, I forget the guy's name that just retired, that was the all-time leader in wins before Mike Martin passed him. You would think like they would always be in the College World Series. They're really not. They're usually like a really good team, and then somehow they get bounced in the super regionals. So this is more of the same from Texas. I think Tennessee's got a good chance to upset. If Tennessee can get past them, I don't know who we're pulling for in tomorrow night's game to get knocked out. Because you have to face them both. But I feel like it's going to be more difficult to beat in Mississippi State 2 games in a row. So I think I'm pulling for Virginia to beat Mississippi State. So Tennessee only has to play Mississippi State once. I feel like Mississippi State's a better team. One thing I don't know, I don't have the numbers in front of me. If Tennessee has Mississippi State's number, then forget what I just said. Then, let's only face Virginia the one time. Today, by the way, Major League Baseball, Mets and Braves are going to play a doubleheader. That's bad enough news for the Braves.
Well, I mean, today we can check off
5:00.
Today, the gentlemen's agreements between skippers go out the window. MLB says we can challenge sticky substance on arms now. So if DeGrom gets rolling, do we face DeGrom today? I hadn't even seen the lineups.
Yes.
Well,
first,
maybe he's got a little perspiration that we can get falsely identify as something else.
First game, I'm hoping he becomes the first person ejected. Now we have Ian Anderson going to the mound. We might find out why Ian Anderson's been so good as well. So
we're under 500. We're not cheating.
Yeah, don't worry about us. You focus on the Mets. The terrible display yesterday during the what was it? So Braves Cardinals Sunday Night Baseball, had it muted because I just cannot listen to those two idiots. And then I see over on the screen A-Rod trying to do he's basically trying to show people what the spider tack was, and he did a terrible job. Just he had it gooped all on his hand to the point where when he was pulling and showing the ball like it was coming off his hand, I'm like, dude, if they were doing it to that degree, you moron, it would be seen everywhere. We have HD cameras in these baseball stadiums.
We're talking sunscreen and talk, right. like we're talking mixtures that have been just kind of turned away from things that people are helping that all of a sudden you can't use now. And then you've got, the glass nose saying, hey, you're putting us in a extreme. You allowed this and you didn't. And now we're having injuries off of it. So it's going to be a huge battle, I think, looming between the PA and MLB after you get a couple of ejections show up this week. I think you're in for a huge fight.
You'll probably see the video at some point today, because I'm sure they're gonna re-show it with today being the day that they're start enforcing the spider tack and all that other junk. Just pay attention to what A-Rod's doing. You're gonna laugh like hell, because I'm telling you, it looks like he's like put a fistful of Vaseline on somebody. He's pulling at it, and it's almost like rubbery. And I'm like, dude, they're barely putting it on. They're hiding it in their hats. They're some of them are hiding it on their belt, et cetera, et cetera. They don't have it gooping. They didn't go all in on cheating like you did, A-Rod.
Yeah,
I always find it funny. Like, they go to A-Rod to show us what cheating's all about. I'm like, he wasn't good at it. He got caught twice. Didn't he get caught twice?
My point exactly.
What a jackass. Other than that, so the other big thing was the NHL playoffs. Did you get a chance to catch any of that, or was the weekend just too jam-packed?
It was too jam-packed. I did not. I scoreboard watched, saw a couple of games, but that was about it. Followed the Canadians, saw how they got back in it, and then it looks like Golden Knights tied the series up yesterday. So it looks like we're going at least 6 in that series, and got the possibility of the Game 7. So with the Lightning and Islanders tied 2-2, if they can keep that rolling, my prediction of 2 Game 7s, and I could care how they shake out after that. I just want to see two Game 7s in these finals.
Yeah, so the Islanders series is the one that I've been locked in on, and that save that they got in the last game, where Home Skillet was diving behind the freaking goalie. And it was funny. They were playing the reaction to New York radio during the hockey broadcast this morning. I was listening to it, and it was funny to hear the play-by-play guy and the other guy, the color commentator, kind of get into it during that. Even though it was a good play by the Islanders, they were basically calling each other dumbasses because they were arguing whether or not that was a save or not. And I'm like, well, the dude did go dive in front of the goal. If he wasn't there, the goal does go in the net. But they were arguing over if that should be considered a shot on goal and blah, blah, blah. And the color commentary goes, well, where was the goal and where was the shot? How is it not a shot on goal? They were having like a sports talk moment in the middle of a Game 4 of the NHL semifinals. I was waiting for them to go.
We can't all talk about them here very gracefully.
It'd be funny if they just go, let's take a caller. What do you think?
Where's the intern when you need him? I mean, it's interesting, that series and goaltender. It's really come down how the big mistakes or saves like that. You cross that over to the Knights Canadian series Friday night. Essentially, Fleury weakly throws a pass to supposedly a teammate. It's intercepted right in the blue ice, the circle in front of the goalie, and just tapped in by the Canadians. Essentially, that was the lead goal that they held onto the lead and won 3-2 that night. So big emphasis on goaltending and just very dramatic on both ends of the other. How you've seen we've seen that from both ends. So Montreal stole one. It's tied up. They've got it. They're coming back to their ice. Should be a good game.
Yeah, that should be a hell of a game, and that series is getting a lot more fun than we thought it was after game one. I think a lot of people were just assuming Montreal was done, and that is far from the case. Time for skin in the game. I'll give you a second to pull it up because I know I kind of dropped it on you here. I'll go ahead and go first. I wanted to see what we've got going on. So there's no NBA action tonight, y'all, by the way. And the NHL, it goes back to Tampa. Tampa's a minus 190. I don't think I want to lay that much on it. So I think I'm going to go Major League Baseball today. I was trying to find college baseball lines, but I don't see them. I'm sure they're somewhere. But the one that I'm going to go with, look, so I don't even have a line on Braves Mets on the site that I look at. I don't see it yet. So I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Reds, only a minus 115. Tyler Mahle's on the mound. He's going up against J.A. Happ. I believe J.A. Happ is just garbage, and Mahle's going to go out there and outduel him. So I'm going to take the Reds minus 115 on the money line. What say you?
I'm not going to touch baseball today. I have no idea how many pitchers are actually going to go, so these lineups mean nothing to me.
Take the over
until I see day one. You just bring an interesting thing, but I haven't looked at that. I'm going to gear towards hockey today. I'm going to lean in. I'm going to take the Islanders at plus 155. I'm rolling with Trotzy going in there, stealing a win to try and come home and finish this off on home ice. So
wouldn't that be something?
I'm rolling the Islanders plus 155.
How fun is that going to be if it ends up being – I know it won't be for the rest of the country, but for that area, how fun would that be if it's New York versus Montreal?
I mean, I think it's a win-win for the NHL. I think that's what they're pulling for. It's two fresh teams in there, and I think it would be great.
And
I think you have a lot of storylines that I think, and I think that's the biggest thing, that just to have the Canadian team back in the finals for the sport would be phenomenal.
What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Oh, man, just, again, I'm going to touch back to Father's Day. Everybody, tell your pops you love them. Hope you had a great weekend. If not, spend some time with your family. That's the big thing. Take away. Just hug your loved ones, man. Just tell everybody hello. Reach out and call somebody you hadn't talked to in a while, and everybody get back to family. Family first.
Amen to that. My walk-off for you is tonight. If for some reason you can't sleep, Dodgers Padres begins tonight, and it's Urias versus Yu Darvish. What a pitching matchup we're going to get robbed from, because it's going to go on till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever. But I love when these teams play. I just really wish they would bump it on just an hour.
No, I really wish I could catch some Giants games right now. I really haven't even seen them play this year, and they're still leading the division. I mean, the Dodgers are creeping in, but
baseball now, it's crazy. Like, yeah,
how in the world are they not on TV?
I watch them as much as I can because I've followed them for years. Wouldn't call myself a fan. I like them, So when it's a mid-afternoon game, I always make sure I watch them. But yeah, the late night games, I mean, I can't stay up for that. They are just, man, they've been absolutely phenomenal. The other thing is tomorrow we'll do Vanderbilt football. We'll rip that Band-Aid off and get it out of the way. So we don't have to do it later on when we're really get the juices going for football season. I figure since we just did MTSU, we'll do Vanderbilt, and then we'll be done with Middle Tennessee athletics for a hot minute.
Let's rip the Band-Aid off UT too. I mean, ain't no need to suffer through that.
I got that planned for much closer to a kickoff for the season. All right, brother, we will see you manana. Great job, and go Isles, baby. Go Isles.
See you tomorrow, guys.
You're riding Morning Shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays on WAOC 96.5 FM, 1420 AM, and streaming on the Armchair Quarterbacks app. Download it today. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
zone. The league will tie the game.
McCarty draws. McCarty in. McCarty scores! A magnificent goal! Darren McCarty!
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, covering the NHL like no other.
What's going on here, guys? All right, coach. So basically, it was a holding call. But these dudes started me in their fantasy league, which is cool because this dude started our quarterback, but he started our kicker and I started their defense. So it's kind of a pickle.
Compromising the integrity of this game with your fantasy football leagues? Listen to me. If there was holding, you make that holding call. I don't care if it was on our team or not. I care about this game too much to let you.
Coach, you started their defense too, didn't you? Yeah, you definitely started their defense.
Damn right I did.
Armchair. If only the world was less like this.
I could use a smoke.
Hey, put that out.
And more like this.
I could use a smoke.
You murderer! I might have children one day.
Smoking kills unless you kill first. If you're around a smoker, you will die. Smokers may look relaxed and like they're having fun. Don't believe it. Vote yes on Proposition 421. Let's outlaw smoking everywhere, even in people's homes, and allow honest citizens to legally kill anyone who smokes. Let's live in a world without smokers. Prohibition works. Let's prove it. Vote yes on Proposition 421. Armchair.
Let's face it, where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. That's why I go to mybookie.ag. It's fast, it's easy, and they pay you when you win. Look, I wouldn't be telling you to bet mybookie.ag if they weren't the best. Do the smart thing. If you're going to bet this football season, bet with mybookie.ag. Promo code SKIN. That's SKIN. When you use that promo code, mybookie will match 100% of your deposit up to $1,000. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SKIN.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Are you listening?
Good morning. Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live, CBS Sports Radio, on a Monday morning, June 21st, already halfway through the damn year. And joining us today, like he does every Monday, Red Raider Doug. Doug, how the hell are you?
Oh, hanging in here on this gloomy Monday.
What's so gloomy about it? Did you get your butt kicked in a fantasy baseball again?
Among other things, yes.
Oh, Roses! I'm back in first place in the YouTube draft. Did you see that? So you have not been on since. Did you see the trade that went on in the YouTube league that we did? Did you see this trade?
No, I didn't look.
Okay, so this is great because I'm gonna hit you with this flat-footed, which is great because I want to get your true, honest reaction. So last week, I want to say around Wednesday-ish, there was a trade between the number one team in the league at the time, which was Steven, and Michael, who is number 3 in the league. Okay, they are now 2 and 3, and they're now actually, I didn't know it at the time. They're facing off this week, which is a big week for them because if Michael can beat him. He essentially, if Michael can beat him, he ought to jump into second. He's only 13 points behind him for the entire year, but you never see it that close, and they would be in a virtual tie. So really, it would at that point they would be jockeying for points all year long. So a big week for those two, right? All right. With that being said, they did a trade. I want to say it was Wednesday. It might have been Tuesday. Not really important to the story. But this one was like, what in the living hell am I looking at over here? I want to get the trade. Here it is. Steven acquires Zach Wheeler and Blake Snell. Okay.
Okay.
You're like, damn, that's pretty good. Although Snell's been getting his ass kicked, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But he gave up Garrett Cole and Darvish to get him.
Huh?
And this is our fantasy baseball guru. I was like, man, sometimes it's hard for me to not roll my eyes when he and Sean get into like a rabbit hole on our Saturday morning analytics show. They do a great job. They do a great job of breaking down the analytics and da 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 da. But the old man in me, you got to watch the game. I'm that guy. Yeah. Always. Sometimes there are assertions. I'm like, man, you're putting a lot of stock into the WOBA. You're putting a lot of stock in. You need to watch the damn games. I could not believe I saw Garrett Cole and Darvish traded away for anything less than like DeGrom and Wheeler.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that would make this thing fair. And when I first saw it, I thought someone was tanking. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. He's the number one team in the league. And so I threw that out the window. This was a keeper league, and this was happening, and it was the best team getting that, and the worst team was getting something. We'd have to have a serious discussion about should we let this go through, because he might be going long term for Snell, but at the same token, that gives someone a really big advantage. But because it's a one and done league and it is what it is, I was like, man, there's no way that Steven's purposely tanking. I think he's tanking and not realizing he's tanking.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing is just really a gamble. Somehow
he's got a 5.72 ERA right now, Blake Snell.
Yeah,
his whip is 1.57. But I think he falls in love with the fact that he's got 85 strikeouts to 61 innings. Okay, I get that. But
this is a complete analytical trade, and I certainly wouldn't have done it. I mean,
it's hilarious. I also think in my heart of hearts, if he was answering this honest, because I did ask him about it, but you knew he was going to be defensive, because anybody would be the way I go in and attack someone, because I do it like, and I mean it in a joking way, but I think sometimes like I'm not going to tell you what I'm really thinking. But I believe he is overvaluing the fact that they're going to start putting the crackdown on Major League Baseball today with the pitching.
Yeah.
And I think he thinks that Garrett Cole is a spider tack wonder. It's got nothing to do with his actual pitching. And I don't know if that's the way he believes with Darvish. That hasn't been as big of a conversation piece, but Garrett Cole was the one that had the light shown on him, right? And he was the one that had to fight with the media because, that's what happens when you're in New York. But Garrett Cole had it wasn't even a bad outing. It was a bad outing for Garrett Cole since Tacky Gate began.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, he's been Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, these guys are still going to adjust. And they're going to find something that can pass as being legal and worry and be able to get some grip on the ball. They're just going to. The Glasnow thing's terrible, and Manfred did a terrible job on policing that, because he should have given these guys time to work into it. It should have been done this spring or wait till next spring. They should not have done it mid-year. I think that was a terrible job, because it's one thing to say we're going to start cracking down. It's another thing to say we're going to start checking you every inning. Okay. And so anyways, I've been on that soapbox before. I don't need to revisit that, but I think he overthought it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Speaking of overthinking things, DFS advice today. So let's go ahead and dive into that. You got some big name pitchers on the mound today. You got Urias, you got Darvish, Tyler Mahle. Montas has a good matchup. Of course, Gibson's on the mound. I fully expect him to be in another uniform a month from, 5 weeks from now. Where are you going as far as what's the pitchers that you're looking at, and who are you thinking about stacking?
Pitcher wise, I got my favorite is Montas with Oakland today at what you call it. I like him. He's good value, good price. He's my favorite. My second favorite, you mentioned him. I like Kyle Gibson.
Now,
as well.
Yeah, Kyle Gibbs is pretty cheap, man. He's
That's why.
6,300. I'll tell you another one that I like going up against an offense that struggles. He's at home. He's coming off the IL today. Alzolay of the Cubs. He's only 8,900. You know, you love Darvish and you love Urias, but they're also going up against two really good offenses. Mail's intriguing, but man, my God, they're charging 9,800 for him. So I'm a little sketchy on that. They don't have. Oh, I guess because it's the 5:00 start is what I'm looking at. They don't have Ian Anderson or DeGrom on this slate that I'm looking at. So that's where where are you stacking today? Like, what's the
My
pitcher
favorite
like?
stack of the day? I just think it's going to be a great matchup. I'm stacking the Reds against the Twins. J.A. Happ is pitching today. The Reds got the second best hitting squad against left-handed pitchers in the NL in the last 30 days. So, yeah, I'm stacking the Reds, taking that all the way.
I think I'm stacking. I'm stacking Astros. Keegan Aiken.
Yeah,
you know, I get it that it's in Baltimore, whatever, but man, the Astros are playing really good baseball. I watched a lot of the Astros White Sox series this weekend. That was a lot of fun. They're playing really good baseball. I know everyone. Look, I don't know if we'll ever forgive the whole, trash can gate or whatever you want to call that, the cheating incident. But the team is really good. Framber Valdez pitched a freaking gem Saturday night. I knew he was going to because we talked too much about it on the neighborhood play, our Chicago baseball show that we do on Saturday mornings, and our White Sox guy Christian was talking about how he was guaranteeing the White Sox were going to get a W because Lynn was going to the mound. And I was like, I don't know, dude. Framber Valdez, he's pretty good. I've got him in fantasy, and he pitched an absolute gem.
Yeah,
that was a fun series this weekend. All right, let's move on to that. Let's go into real. By the way, before we get into fantasy football, how are you feeling about your Reds right now? We haven't talked about them in a long time.
They're a little bit on the. I don't like them offensively. Defensively, they're not playing bad, but man, we've got to get out of this slump. Naquin and India are in these slumps. That's why I'm happy for this great pitching matchup today. Get off this slump we are in. I mean, we're winning games, but offensively, we've just nosedived.
Got to get some W's on a 4-game losing streak. 3 of those obviously were out in San Diego. And the Twins can fix that. The problem is the rest of the division, and I don't count the Pittsburgh Pirates because they're out of it. They're done. But this is a four-team race right now. Right now they're going 4 wide into the corner. And first corner, but they're going 4 wide in the corner. So Cincinnati and St. Louis are tied 4 games back. And then the Cubs and the Brewers are tied, a flat-footed tie at the top of the division. But the entire division, those 4 teams, they play bums the beginning of this week.
Yeah.
The Cubs are home against Cleveland. Milwaukee's at Arizona. St. Louis is at Detroit. And Cincinnati is at Minnesota. And obviously the Cubs have the advantage there because they're at home. But you don't want to – you got to get off the schneid. You got to get the W's because you don't want to fall much farther back than 4 back. And Cleveland is sending Seville to the mound today, so they've got a fighting chance to beat them. I don't believe in the Brewers long term because I don't think their offense will stay there. I would be more concerned if I'm a Reds fan about the Cubs and the Cardinals. And the Cardinals, until Flaherty comes back, they are vulnerable. That is for sure. All right, fantasy football. What we're going to do here is we're going to talk about one of the league. We're going to talk about different concepts each week before we get into who should you draft, all that kind of stuff. We're going to put a good 15, 20 minutes on this every single week, and away we go. So this week we are going to go into this is a keeper league where you keep between 2 to 4 players. Every team does, okay? And going to go around the league and kind of look at different teams. And there are some openings in these leagues. We got a couple of guys who are in these leagues that I just felt like never played, never cared, So we've got an 8-team league right now. If anyone's interested, wants to, I'm probably going to hit up a couple of people to see if they want to inherit one of these teams. You're going to have a decision to make. You can either keep 2 to 4 players off these teams, or you can say to hell with it and go to the top of the draft board and draft and kind of forego the first 2 rounds. Now, anyone that inherits these teams, I'm automatically going to put them at the top just because they're having to inherit a couple of teams. Honestly, they've got some good players on it, but I'm tired of seeing these teams, Doug, that just don't give a damn and don't try.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going back in for it won't be a lot of money on a lot of these leagues, but we're going back in on money, and it's going to be a lot of I want it to be fun this year, and I'm tired of seeing, oh, well, that's a bye week because I'm playing Duval special, because he only half-ass drafts and he only half-ass pays attention to his team. One of the guys that I'm talking about, he doesn't show up for the drafts. He auto draft. He does this every year. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to blah, 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 and then he auto drafts. And so I'm just like, I'm done. I actually ran into him a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me the same thing. I was like, okay, dude, whatever. I said it last year, and I'm going to stick by it. We got to clean up these leagues because it's not fun. It's just not fun when you're like, okay, well, I'm playing a bum this week. If I score 60 points, I'm going to win. All right, so let's go with your team first, and then we'll go around. So you can keep between 2 to 4, and the caveat is if you don't keep, you have to keep 2. You can keep up to 4. But the 2 new teams, I will give them the chance that if they don't want to keep anyone because they didn't draft them, that's a different story. They can go to the front of the line because you got to do that, to be fair. But looking at your team, you're going to have to keep 2, but you can keep 4. I'm looking at your lineup. Ooh, this is a tough one. I know you're definitely going to keep Christian McCaffrey for obvious reasons.
Yep.
Who is the other guy that you're absolutely going to keep, do you think?
If I'm
asking you here on June 21st, right? Because I know a lot can happen.
Right off the top of my head, not even looking at my team, McCaffrey, and I'm going to keep Darren Waller. Right off the top of my head.
Okay. I thought you would have the teams in front of you, but I can rattle off a couple of maybes. The bums I won't mention because there's no way you keep certain players. You got Mike Evans on your team. You got Chris Godwin. So you got both the Tampa Bay receivers. J.K. Dobbins is an interesting one. Will he carry more of a load this year? A lot of people have him high on their board. Henry Ruggs is on this team. Dak Prescott. I didn't see him because he's at the bottom because he was injured. That's an interesting one. Dak Prescott would be one you might want to keep. You do have Tannehill, but I can't imagine anyone would keep Tannehill. Because basically the argument you make with yourself for people who've never been in a league like this is, will this guy still be here if I let him go in the 3rd round, the 4th round, or the 5th round? And I feel like I made a mistake last year and kept too many players because I overvalued some of them. And I finished like 6th. This was one of my worst leagues last year. I won it the year before, but this year, this past year was terrible. So what are you thinking? 3 maybe?
I'm keeping 3. I got, like I said, Waller and Christian McCaffrey. I may just go ahead and
Dak is interesting. Dak Prescott's an interesting one.
That's what I'm saying.
Probably still be there in the 3rd round, but it depends on how many other quarterbacks are taken too.
Yeah.
The J.K. Dobbins one, what I would say about that is I would look and see where he's being drafted
exactly
during this preseason. Because if he's averaging like the 2nd or 3rd round, which he very well may be, you might want to keep him. Unless you're just like, I don't like him, I don't want him, blah, blah, blah. We all get more emotionally invested with fantasy football than anything else.
Yep.
We all have those guys. You're like, you might love him, but I'm not putting him on my damn team. Not after 2018 when on that 3rd down play, there's always something. Okay, so let's go to my team. And And obviously Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook are givens. Unless they get injured during the preseason, gots to keep them. And then it gets interesting because a lot of people are really high on A.J. Brown this year because you're going to have to cover Julio Jones. And me being the Tennessee Titan homer that I am, I may keep him. He wasn't worth keeping last year, but I'd be kicking myself in the butt if we get down the road, I don't keep him. And he's every bit of a second-round pick that people are projecting him to possibly be this year. They're definitely projecting him in the third round.
Mhm.
But man, that guy was injured a lot last year, but you almost have to compartmentalize. The other interesting one I have is I have Justin Jefferson. He had a really good year. That's more having faith in the Vikings than it is, because I think Justin Jefferson's great, but what the hell is Mr. Cousins going to do? But if I do that, I'm heavily invested in the Tennessee Titan and Minnesota Vikings backfield and wide receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
If anything goes wrong with those two, I'm screwed. The other one that's interesting that I've is Kyler Murray. But would he be their fourth or fifth round? So I think my two ones that I stick right here when I look at it would be, am I going to keep? Because if I keep the third, I'm probably going to keep the fourth.
Right.
Because if I only go two, then that gives me a third round pick and away we go, right? But if I keep A.J. Brown, and then I'm deciding whether or not a fourth round pick is worth either Kyler Murray or Justin Jefferson, they are. Like, those guys are worth the fourth round pick. But it really could. But last year, man, I don't remember who it was, but someone wasn't kept, and I didn't really think about it, and I let him go. I kept four, and so other guys drafted second or third and fourth round in front of me. And I was like, man, what the hell did I do? Like, there's some good players out there so anyways, that one there's an interesting. I'm gonna grab a couple more rosters in the same league. So you let's go with Willie Beef. So I know you'll see him this week, and let's see what his roster looks like. So he's got Devontae Adams. Man, that's got a lot to do with whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to be in Green Bay.
Yeah.
I'd be really nervous about drafting him or keeping him. And you'd almost feel like an idiot not keeping him. But what if Aaron Rodgers is in Denver or something and he's got Jordan Love? He's outstanding receiver, but we don't know anything about Jordan Love. So that would be scary to me. But you have to keep two. So I think he probably will keep him. The rest of his team is absolute trash. He somehow finished in third place. He's got Calvin Ridley, which I think would be his second keeper. And then after that, Jeff Wilson, Leonard Fournette, DJ Moore.
Yeah.
These are the good names. James Conner, who's now in Arizona.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham Jr. I'd be willing to bet that he only keeps two.
I would say that to this point. I was going to throw in there one other thing, though. I tell you what, as far as strategy, but the 2 or 4 are these new players. A lot of my strategy is going to base on what they do. Are they throwing away those teams? Are they keeping those teams? Then I'll decide if 2 to 4 is worth it. But I have to see what they dump first.
Well, the problem is we don't see what they dump until the draft starts.
I try to get an inkling on it, but yeah, I mean, you almost have to gamble on each.
Because you have to look at it and say, do you think these guys are going to keep these? But we don't know until the draft starts.
Yeah.
So that's the mess that is of that, which is a part of it, because it's almost like playing a poker game.
Yeah.
Who won this thing last year? Did you win this?
No. I finished just in front of you. I think I had so many injuries last year.
What the standings were. Jack's son, he won it. All right, David.
Oh, David.
So let me see if I can get to his team. Okay, here we go. All right. His team's interesting. He's got Deshaun Watson. I mean, you can't keep him. You don't know what the hell's going to go on with him. I wouldn't keep him. He does have Alvin Kamara. He's got Jonathan Taylor of the Colts. He's got Travis Kelce. He has, let me see if he has any guys that were injured. Not really. That's essentially what he would have to keep from. I figure he's only going to keep two. Figure he's going to keep Kamara, probably Kelce. And then if he does anything else, it would be based on what Houston does with Deshaun Watson. Is he going to play week 1? Does he get suspended by the league? Because there's going to start being some hard heat hit his way here in the next, I'd say it'll ramp up in about a month or so, where the media is going to start really wanting to know what the hell are you going to do about Deshaun Watson. That's going to put pressure on the league to suspend him or not suspend him. All right, let's go ahead and turn back time and get the hell on out of here. There's some interesting things. I can't believe that was, now granted, we didn't play for money last year and it was COVID and blah, blah, blah. I can't believe that was the team that won. That's hard to believe. That's not a very good team. Makes me feel much better about my team. All right, turn back time. Here we go. His baseball teams, by the way, if you haven't paid attention, his teams are climbing back up like they always do. He always sucks in April and May, and then you start seeing his team start coming up.
Yeah.
All the leagues he's in with us, he's starting to do well. I mean, he's getting up at like 4 a.m. and picking up players. It's just ridiculous. All right, turn back time. Here we go. All right. On this date, what in the world is that? Oh, that's cricket. I was like, I don't even understand what the hell this is. On this date, 1939, very, very sad and somber day. Lou Gehrig announces his retirement after doctors reveal that he has ALS. And then, of course, a year later would be the I think it was a year later. Yeah, a year later was the famous June 4th day that they're now starting to commemorate that, where he was, worn down at that point. Very somber turn back time. Birthdays. Let's see if we can pick your spirit up here on birthdays.
It's your birthday today. What does that mean?
All right, I'm going to give you a dead one. William Shea was an American lawyer. He was born in 1907, passed away in 1991. Why is his name familiar? He is the person that was instrumental in bringing the Mets to New York. And, of course, that's why they named it Shea Stadium. Yep. So he was born on this date in 1907. All right. Let's get some suckers that are still kicking with us. Man, this is a really, really bleak one here. Do you remember Tony Birdie? And I don't even know why the hell I do. But do you remember him?
Oh, man. Yeah, I know the name, but I can't remember from what. But yes, I am familiar with the name.
Offensive tackle for the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
Of course, back then it was LA. He's 49 years old today. I just always remember Birdie on the back of his. I don't know why that always stuck out to me. Happy birthday, Roethlisberger. 51 years old today. So, yeah, no, it's not Ben Roethlisberger. It's John Roethlisberger, an American gymnast, came in 5th in the 96 Olympics. Why am I pointing this one out? We're about a month away from the Olympics, and it looks like it's going to go down. I mean, and by the way, all these news outlets need to stop pushing. I don't know, should they play? They're playing a Euro League right now in soccer where they've got every country known to man fighting it over, right?
Yeah.
Why the hell can't they do that? Why the hell can't they play the damn Olympics? If you could play EuroLeague soccer in June, you ought to be able to play the Olympics in July. I think it's late July is when it's in Tokyo. They better have their vaccinations because Japan's a small country. You're going to be all jam-packed in there. What's your walk-off for the day, sir?
My walk-off is about Bo Schembechler and what the University of Michigan should do. there's a lot, the more I read about it, the more I see about it. I'm starting to wonder if Michigan should start to distance himself from that man.
Did you see there was like 100 ex-players that wrote they basically signed a letter that said, we support Bo and all that junk?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if I'd be wanting to put my freaking name out there until I got all the information back. Because the one thing you don't know is that is this his son grinding an axe? Like, did they have a bad relationship and he's grinding an axe and he's trying to come up with something to hurt his legacy? But if this finds out to be true, which there's been a couple other names for people who don't know what we're talking about, there's a sexual scandal going on with the doctor at the University of Michigan and Bo Schembechler's son. I don't want to say his name's Joe, but that sounds too easy. He is claiming that he was molested by the guy. Is it Pat?
Matt.
Okay. You should have called him Joe. It'd make more sense. I'm Bo and this is Joe. But I really want to get Sean's take on this Wednesday, being a Michigan fan. And I was going to bring it up to him more, this past week, but I wanted some dust to settle before because you want to be able to figure out what, but yeah, I'm with you, man. It's a tough thing because you don't know who to believe, but when you have this many people on it is what worries me. And guys like Harbaugh are saying, he didn't do anything. Okay, but what if? Because if you start getting like a Deshaun Watson thing where 22 people come out, then there's too much smoke. I'm sorry for that to be a little fire. My walk-off for the day is Magic Johnson is at ESPN Studios today. I just saw him. That dude looks good, man. For a guy who 30 years ago was announced that he had HIV, and I remember just like being devastated. Was never a Lakers fan, but obviously Magic Johnson was an idol to me growing up just because I played a lot of basketball, believe it or not. He looks good for a guy who everyone thought death sentence 30 years ago. I mean, he's got to be in his mid-60s by now.
Yeah.
The guy definitely keeps in shape, man. He's I'm in shape, but my shape is more pear than anything else. All right. We'll see you next week, brother. We'll get more into some fantasy baseball next week. Try to jot your roster down, because I know you're using a device to be able to do the show. But I want to get some. I'm gonna have some harder questions when we do next week's show. All right, brother. We'll see you next week. And tomorrow we've got Justin with us. We got Bobby the Kid. We are going to be talking Vanderbilt football, and he is, I believe, I don't have it in front of me, so never mind. Just see us tomorrow. I forget who. I want to say it's the Dolphins, but I could be wrong. I believe we're doing the Miami Dolphins tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get